3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here is today's comic, and oh boy, did I absolutely love this book. I didn't read it right away because there's an individual who I really respect, and I'm not going to name any names because I'm not trying to draw contention here, that I really respect their views about this comics and so forth, and they were just like, this is trash, I'm not going to read any more of these books. And I was like, wow, what happened? Is this went off a cliff? And I just, opinions matter. When people say like, oh, I love something, or I did, even if you say, oh, it's fine, I'm going to form my own opinion, it does have an effect, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails, even though I've been loving every single White Knight book. I've been a huge proponent of it, and I was like, oh no, what happened with this book? And so I didn't get to it right away. The other thing is, a book of this nature, I don't like to release a video right after it comes out. My goal isn't to spoil books for people so that they don't have to read the books. I'm not trying to be like Comics Explained or Comics Historian. My goal is to talk about books that you guys are reading. I'm not even really here to do reviews. I was doing reviews in the past, and ultimately this video will be a review in its own right, but it's more of, think of it as more of a podcast style, just discussion of the book. And hopefully most of the people in the audience listening, you've read the book too, and you're tuning in because you want to hear what other people thought about the book. That's sort of the main goal. Now, you don't have to read the book, and you can utilize my channel, I guess, as a way of seeing other books that are out there. And I do also recognize that that's going to be a lot of the case, so I do try to, steer you away from bad books, or use these videos as an opportunity to maybe sell you on the book. Anyways, let's get into this book itself. This was a phenomenal book. I hope you're reading Batman: Curse of the White Knight. I hope you read the original White Knight. That was the book that got me back into buying comics again. And this sequel, I was a little bit nervous just because whenever you have something really great, when a sequel comes out, you can always be like, is it going to live up? Was it lightning in a bottle? The original time, can you catch it twice? Who knows? And so far, I've really been enjoying this new series, and this book was all heart. That is what got me. There's different kinds of writing styles in comics and things that I value. Jonathan Hickman is an example. If you've been reading at all, the House of X and Powers of X, really captured me in his writing because of his ability to write intricate plots and world building and tie them all together. And it made my mind just reel. And I was constantly thinking about the story afterwards. But it wasn't really heartfelt. It wasn't strong character development. That wasn't his strength in those books. Conversely, there's another writer out there that's just knocking things out of the park, Chip Zdarsky, who recently in books like Spider-Man Life Story and his recent Daredevil book is writing pure human drama and pull at your heartstrings sort of thing. You feel for the good guy, you feel for the bad guy, you feel for the bystanders on the street. He's getting into the story of just being human and the things that we deal with and making you care about characters. He's excellent at that. Now, his stories aren't mind-bending like Hickman. That's fine. There's different kinds of stories. And one of the things I love about White Knight has always just sort of been more of the world building and the cool aspects that Sean Murphy has set up to make his version of Gotham and his mythos. But I didn't ever think of him as a super, dramatic writer that could like get into the human condition and make us feel such empathy and sympathy for the characters. And then I read this book, and this might be the best that he's done. Curse of the White Knight, book 4. And we open up immediately on one of my favorite first opening pages that I can remember since getting back into buying comics. And we see Commissioner Gordon, in an ambulance. And he's, last we saw, he was stabbed through the chest with a broadsword by Azrael. And it's just a top-down view, and EMT's, trying to keep him stable. And we hear, narrative voiceover. What's the matter, Pumpkin? I don't want to go to school anymore. And we see this cute little girl, Gotham Elementary. What's clearly, at the time, probably, I don't know what 2 stars is, Lieutenant Gordon. I'm gonna say Lieutenant. If I'm wrong, someone who's expert, tell me what 2 stars on police is. I'm thinking 1 star Sergeant, 2 star Lieutenant. Anyways, I'm gonna call him Lieutenant Gordon. Looking at his daughter, and it's just a great scene here. And she's just buckled up, and she's just precious with her little backpack, and then the scene cuts back to, Commissioner Gordon on a gurney, and they're wheeling him in, and you can see the urgency, these EMT guys just running in. I thought you liked school. I do, but... And you see the concerned father looking at his daughter. And he sees his arm and it's a bruise. Did someone hurt you? A boy on the playground. I pushed him when he tried to kiss me. And then we cut to this bottom panel. Jesus. This is like heart-wrenching. And they're like rushing Gordon in, and we can see the grown-up little girl, Barbara Gordon, and the look of just panic on her face. And then the narrative voiceover. Good. Oh, wow. Gordon is a man's man. But then he pushed me back, and I fell. My lip was bleeding. And you can see just Gordon being, calm, patient father. Did you tell the teachers? No. I didn't want to get him into trouble. And again, next panel, Gordon's on the table. Trauma doctors are working on him. Listen to me. You can just see a close-up of his face. Next time someone tries to hurt you, I want you to hurt them back harder. But he's a boy, and he's bigger than me. That doesn't matter. But isn't fighting against the rules? Then we cut back again, and he's just, it's in the ER. And you can see the details here on the corner of just, friends and coworkers, his daughter, and just panic. You're older now, so I'm going to tell you the truth. There are 2 kinds of rules. Their rules and your rules. And he embraces his daughter. From now on, your rules say that you fight back. Won't I get in trouble with my teachers? You let me worry about your teachers. Wow, it chokes me up again just to read this. Oh my God, this is one of the best father-daughter moments I've seen depicted in comics, maybe ever. It is. If you disagree, I feel like do you? I don't know. Tell me how I'm wrong. This chokes me up even again. Just to I've read it twice and I'm talking about it, and it's just to not let it get to me. Just this great imagery here, and we see this cool, car it's not a real car, but it's, it's got that 70s motif, because this is a younger time. Thanks, Dad. And don't tell Mom what I said. You'll always be her little princess, and she'd be heartbroken if she learned the truth. What's that? That you're not a princess. You're a fighter. Like me. We see Gordon you think he's fighting on the emergency room, like, and you can see flatline. Bye, Dad. Love you. Just the scene there's no word but precious to like define this. Little girl running to school, proud father. Goodbye, pumpkin. Just, it's beautiful. And then he cut to this. If this doesn't pull on your heartstrings, like, I have to question, do you have any heartstrings to pull? Like, as far as comics go, this is, and she's rushing. God, it just continues. You're on page 4. She's running. Panic. Runs by Batman. Batman sees the look on his face. And you don't have to be the world's greatest detective to understand 2 and 2 equals 4. And then you see the look on Batman's face of like, oh God, that can only mean one thing. And then Batman's running. And then this. And if you are like, still your heartstrings aren't pulled, it's like, what more does Sean have to do? What more? Wow. This is powerful stuff. You don't see Batman himself. You don't see him, in moments like this. And then it cuts to this. You're just like, oh, geez. What a hook. This might be one of the best hooks I have ever seen. Just boom, in a comic book. You're like, okay, I'm here, Sean. You got me. I'm ready to go. Then it goes back. Now we're into normal storytelling. They managed to escape with all 3 of you. Sorry, with all 3 of you there. Barbara, we're just as upset as you are. He was murdered while you were getting drunk. Sorry, I read Barbara's voice all wrong in the beginning. Sometimes these word balloons, you don't see who's attached to what. Excuse me, I also got a little sniff. That was appropriate timing, too. I should have just played that off. Believe me, kiddo, I wish it had been me. Why go after my dad? I thought they were only trying to kill Batman. Because of the Napier Initiative. If your father would become mayor, he would have been a bigger threat to them. Sorry, I'm reading Batman's part. This is again, so here's a good critique. I hate when you have word balloons off a panel. You don't see who's talking, so you don't read it in your mind with the appropriate voice. Sometimes, and I've seen DC doing this really well, they'll do it as a box, and then they'll color the box certain colors. Like usually Batman is like a gray box with yellow lettering. Superman's kind of a blue box with red lettering, or sometimes they'll do like the symbol of the character kind of watermarked in the back. And it's like, so I wish they could do something similar for dialogue boxes. So I should have read it as Batman's voice. Because of the Napier Initiative. If your father had become mayor, he would have been a bigger threat to them. No, they killed him because of you. Because of what you started. He believed in you, Barbara. And he was willing to put it all on the line while you hid in the shadows. And that's why he died. Because he wasn't a coward. Babs, let her go. But we're in the middle of a manhunt, Grayson. I need you to stay focused. You don't know what it's like to lose a parent, Renee. Besides, who put you in charge? James goddamn Gordon did. She grabs him by the collar. And if you're going to continue working for the GTO, then you're going to follow my orders. What's the move, Commissioner? How are we going to find this guy? Azrael? I heard him say it to Gordon. Azrael, what does it even mean? Azrael was the Archangel of Death. So they're all discussing what they're going to do. And the next thing they know, they turn on Batman. Seriously? He just disappeared before I finished speaking? God, that must have driven Gordon nuts. And while that's not the best joke or whatever, we've seen that a million times, I appreciated this because in the middle of all this drama and darkness, it's important sometimes to have a little bit of levity. And while this wasn't the greatest, well-written joke, it was used at the appropriate time to alleviate some of the tension. Now we see Batman swinging through the city, doing his thing, and he's visiting Harley Quinn, who's being watched over by Leslie Tompkins, and she gives him some sage advice, and he talks about how he's going to reveal his identity soon, and she's just like, do you understand what will happen if the truth gets out there, what it'll do to you, to the people around you? And he just doesn't seem to be concerned about that. And he just stares her blankly at the face and says, Gordon was killed tonight. And he breaks down. Bruce, oh my God. Now, God, this is a really good scene. This is important to talk about here because in Tom King Batman, Bruce gets left at the altar and becomes complete beta male, hapless, fits of depression, he's just totally ineffectual. I don't think that would have fazed the guy. There's few things that can faze Batman, and I think losing Alfred and losing Commissioner Gordon would be those things. But here we see a Batman who he's definitely hurt. He's definitely let a little bit of his walls down, sheds a tear, but he doesn't give up. He never gives up. He never stops being the Batman. He never gives up on his friends and his family or the city of Gotham that he's pledged his life to, that he's married to. So we see Barbara investigating the scene. Anything from the crime scene? Not yet. You combing through every security camera block by block. And we get some interaction between Barbara and Dick. And this I thought was great too because they have a good relationship. And they have a relationship that I wish DC would get back together. I hate that DC broke this up. Babs, don't. Montoya is going to order you to take a leave of absence so you have time to get over the loss. Then I'll quit the GTO. No one can stop me from finding him. And she is a woman on a mission. To which Dick responds, I lost my parents too, as did Bruce. I'm just saying you're not alone. You'll always have this isn't a family, Dick. You know who first told me that? You. Well, I shouldn't have said that. It's just, I spent a long time being angry. You should be angry. We all should. Babs. He's out of his mind, Dick, and we all bought into it. Pull your head out of your ass. This isn't working. Capes, cowls, secret identities. This insanity ruined our lives. But no one wants to say anything because we're in too deep. To which Dick Grayson responds, I'm not in the habit of defending him, but you're not being fair. You and I chose this, and so did your father. If you need me, you know where to find me. And I loved this. I loved that Sean Gordon Murphy, who's not a lifelong Batman fan, who's not a big comic nerd who's read Batman for 20, 30 years or whatever, he's just read some of the good stuff as friends with Scott Snyder who knows Batman, is able to capture Dick Grayson in a more realistic way than most comic writers in recent years. And I'm not even a big Dick Grayson person myself, but I understand that this is a guy who doesn't get along with Batman, who had to go his own separate way, but still thinks of the man like a father. And Dick Grayson is also a man of honor and a man of truth. He's learned all these things from Bruce. He disagrees with some of Bruce's methods. He disagrees, or he finds it difficult to deal with Bruce's mannerisms and how he deals things. So, he left the nest. But when Bruce needed him the most, every time Dick was there. When it came time for someone to pick up the cowl himself and run around as Batman, who did it? Dick Grayson. Lesser writers have put Dick as just, they've just misinterpreted this whole thing and made it just be like I don't want anything to do with Batman, and I disagree with everything he does, and that's just not the case. And this is a guy, it's like, look, he says here, I'm not in the habit of defending him, but this is not the right thing to attack him on. This is not the part where he's wrong. And he doesn't deserve this blame. And he realizes all the good that Batman does, but in true fashion of realistic characters, Barbara isn't seeing any of that. She is a woman consumed by rage. So she's behaving appropriately by letting that rage take over. So she shouldn't just be falling in line and just being like, yeah, okay, you're right. She should be not hearing clearly. And as a reader, that frustrates us a little bit, but also that's satisfying because it comes away more authentic. So many comic books today I read, and the characters just all sort of conveniently fall in line where they need to. The plot needs them to go here, so it's just like, okay, and they don't actually behave like real people. They behave like script robots, Oh, the script says I need to be here talking like this, so now I am, and they don't ever feel like they have their own voice. Where this Barbara Gordon feels like a real character to me, and so does Dick. All the characters feel like real people. It's the exact opposite of what I get with Brian Michael Bendis. It's the opposite. If you are a person who doesn't understand, when you're like, well, I don't get it. I think Bendis is pretty good. I don't see what you're talking about. Read a Bendis book and how everyone talks the same, doesn't seem to have their own voice, seems to say whatever just will work to get the plot going. And then read this book and see how people don't speak, just to be convenient for whatever, the scene needs for them to do. Man, I'm getting in the weeds again, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And we get the voiceover. How many safe houses do you have? One in each borough. Why? Did you expect this might happen one day? Joker said something about Gotham drowning in secrets. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the Gotham Reservoir. And this is a cool scene. Just Batman sitting in a chair, looking at a computer, but Sean Murphy is able to flesh out this detail, and it's not just the detail itself, it's the overall design aesthetic. If you're a person like me, this panel geeks you out to see, like, first of all, the Bat Cycle is badass. I sit here and I'm just staring at it for, I'd pause on this page and I can't turn it because I just want to look at it. But how cool, like the way the stairwell winds down. You have the cool coat of arms here, which will be relevant on the wall. I like the panel kind of, these other two panels are floating over these, so there's actually more detail over here behind them. And your eyes just want to look all over the place. And this whole part is like talking about the journal and how Leslie and Alfred found it initially. And this was a cool part. She's talking about how they got the thing. And it's like, Alfred swore to your father that he'd always protect you, even if it meant keeping secrets. He didn't want you to worry about the letter, so he hoped to resolve the issue alone. But I insisted on going with him. The address was in the oldest part of Gotham, on a street I'd never heard of. It was in the old basement of an old pharmacy. And again, look at the detail. Look at, let's see. And then they come down and they meet this gentleman who is an interesting looking character with a streak of white in his hair. Alfred Pennyworth, guardian of the Waynes, and Leslie Tompkins. Please sit. Take your drink. For Alfred, a brandy, the 76 Nottingham, and for Leslie, a white Zinfandel. How did you know? Who are you? A priest, the last knight of the Order of St. Dumas. Don't worry, you're not in any danger. I'm not a warrior priest of the old order. I am of the New Order, a librarian, a historian, and a collector. Where did you get this? I took it from the Joker. It's a warning, and then Alfred just stands up and draws his sword like a boss. Look at Alfred. Look at Alfred, is badass. And look at Leslie behind him. Look at this. She's just like, whoa. I love this scene. It's fantastic. And he just says, you'll find I don't respond well to warnings. Damn, Alfred, you go. I'm here to help you, Mr. Pennyworth. The journal is a gift for Bruce. As his guardian, I'll count on you to give it to him when he's ready. But Alfred, put that away. And all of a sudden, he vanishes. And everything around them, it's like they were in a dream. And it's all, not ruined, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just gone to dust. I'm at a loss of words here. It's just age. It's like they're in an old, like this wasn't really there. You see what I'm saying. You see the pictures. So she's describing to Bruce, who's just listening patiently the whole time. And they talk about the plague of Gotham, the blood feud between the Waynes and the Bakars. And he just says, whatever it is, I need to figure it out fast. Might be the only way to find Azrael. And he's looking at the coat of arms again. And you can see on here, Pennyworth. And you're just like, damn. Then we cut over back to GCPD. Barbara Gordon is looking at an armory. Look at all these guns. And she arms up, ties her hair back. Sure, this is what you want? I found the vehicle parked near the attack, so I ran it through the system and got a match from a highway cam on the Gotham Interstate. And you don't plan on arresting him. I just love this sort of like defiant stance looking up to Bullock. No, I don't. Like, what are you going to do about it? And he just responds, atta girl, you drive. And of course, Bullock is not the moral compass that you need, right? So he's really, while he's literally being helpful, he's actually not really the help that she needs. He's the bad influence. But it's in character for Bullock, and that's great. And then they get into my favorite Batmobile ever, the Tumbler. Of course, that's pretty subjective, but I was just loving seeing this thing go, and she just takes off in it. And I love, Sean, you're probably never going to see this video, but man, these type of things that he draws, look at this. Just the sense, I can, my mind's eye can picture the vehicle. You can see the trail of smoke if you trail it between the cars. You can see, my mind's eye just kind of pictures the thing flying down the street. And look at this Batmobile. Some people say they hate the Tumbler, and I don't understand why. It's a Batmobile that actually makes sense. It's a vehicle with a purpose. It's utilitarian. It's not just some weird, wannabe 60s looking car with a big rocket engine that would never really, like the Batmobile from the Batman 89 movie. It just was the most impractical car ever. It's like, yeah, it'd be great driving in a straight line. Anyway, I digress. The idea that Batman has like a pseudo tank vehicle that could hop, short distances to jump things. It just looks mean. Look at this thing. It looks like it has a mouth and a face. And that's part of Batman's motif in my mind. It's about the fear. It's about instilling terror in criminals. And it's just a cool scene. And Gotham is a character in Batman, and Murphy never forgets that. You always get to feel the city. And then we cut to Bruce, or Batman, on that badass motorcycle in pursuit. Batman, come in. Batgirl and Bullet are missing. What? Took the tumbler and turned off the GPS tracker. I assume you installed a backup locators in all the Batmobiles without telling any of us. Again, Dick knows him all too well. Then he pauses, beat searching. You can see she's headed up Route 1 near the Gotham River. That's what I thought. And then look at this. We get the cool scene of Batman flying with his bike. Oh, and I just love the way the wings come off like this. Voiceover. Here, take your pills. Cough, cough. I don't need pills. God will. Don't start that shit, JP. You have two choices. Die on your ass from cancer or die on your feet like a soldier. So take them. You think these pills can really save me? From cancer? Yes. But maybe not from Ruth. What are you talking about? Killing Gordon wasn't part of the plan. So they're talking about that. And he's kind of questioning their loyalty. To which she responds, shows her tattoos. We're here. We're all in it together, essentially. To which, as they're talking, and then boom, out of nowhere, the tumbler crashes into their vehicle and keeps going. And then takes them off a cliff into the river and crash. Big explosion. And we see Azrael crawling out of the wreckage. Batman? Worse. And you can see just Babs here, just, with this sheer anger and sadness on her face. Tears running down her eyes, her cheeks. And she's pointing the gun at him. And then all of a sudden, whoop, the bat grapple thing wraps around her gun. And just as she's starting to pull the trigger, and bang, 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 bang. I just love this scene too, how it's like just in the nick of time. She was gonna shoot him. And the rifle's going off. Barbara, what are you thinking? And just look at Batman's face here. It's tough. I hear a lot of artists talk about how it's tough to do emotion on Batman. And I'm not sure the whole Spider-Man sort of eyes animation here. It's not really animated, but the emotive eyes works. It kind of does, as long as I guess they don't outdo it. But we get to see. The point is, we get to see what Batman is feeling and thinking, and he's just horrified because he knows what can happen, and he doesn't want to see Jim Gordon's daughter, his friend, and he probably thinks of Batgirl as like a niece, right? Or a goddaughter, and it's just, he cares about her deeply, and he's like, you almost went down, in a well of darkness you can't return from. And just the horror on his face. He's alive! And so the Blood Angels, or whatever they're called, they start firing in. Pin them down! Shoot him! I said shoot him! And you see here, Batman's got a gun. I'm not sure why Batman has a gun. But of course, Batman doesn't shoot people. And then he's taking out his little, grappling hook thing again, and it's too late. Azrael catches up to Babs. And crack! And you're just like, oh my god, this book is full of tragedy. And you can see, look at the battering. I know it's not the bat. It's coming around, but it's too late. It's too late because Batman wouldn't shoot to kill, And it wraps around his throat, his neck, and he yanks him back. And it's like, leave them out of this. It's me you're after. I thought you were buried under the ruins of your stolen fortune, but I can see he spared you. Who? God. That means he wanted us to fight in this open battlefield like this. It's your destiny. And the sword starts lighting on fire. This is your retribution. And Batman's just still holding on. Look at the will as he's on fire. He's screaming. This is God's will. Azrael kicks him away. And Batman's like, I know about Edmund and Bakar, and I don't care what you think we took from you. The Waynes have always been the rightful protectors of Gotham, and we always will be. I agree. What? And then from behind, someone clocks Batman on the head with a sword. And Batman is knocked into the river, knocked out, I'm not sure. And we can see the police up on the cliff. Down there! JP, we gotta move. I'm not finished. Don't argue with me. We already lost Michael. So she drags him off the waterfall. And, relax, Lieutenant. Bullock, look at me. Bullock just pasted this guy. And of course, again, that's the devil on Bab's shoulder. And we see Dick, Barbara, where's Barbara? And then out of the fire, we see Batman holding. Dang it. Sometimes it's hard to control this. See out of the fire, Batman holding Barbara. And the look on his face. Alfred's dead. His best friend, Jim Gordon's dead. And now we can presume as readers that Barbara's been crippled. Damn. Like the stress on like Batman to, the guilt that he would hold that all these things happened on his watch. And then appropriately, Sean knows to cut to black. And then after the black page, you get the advertisement for White Knight, which just get this. If you have not read this, you can pick it up off Amazon for under $15. And it's really nice. You will be proud to have this in your collection. You'll pick it up and read it, probably once a year. It's so good. We get the DC Black Label thing, and I just really like the, it feels kind of gratuitous just to have like, oh, look at a page for the, but it when you're reading it, you just like turning the page, and your mind is still reeling from everything that happened, and you get this badass picture again of Alfred. A curse, a birthright, and centuries of lies. The Joker is back with a devastating secret to shake Batman and Gotham to the core. So yeah, it has shaken to the core, and we are halfway through the series now. It's an eight issue series. That was book 4, and it was utterly astounding. It's not a single issue story, obviously. It's part of a whole, but as a chapter, wow, it is phenomenal. I do not understand why anyone had a problem with this. I heard some critiques that, Montoya shouldn't have been the commissioner or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, that's a fair subjective reaction. I'm not going to say anyone's wrong to feel that way. I can only respond that I didn't have a problem with that. I feel within the settings, and the confines of this story and how the characters are all presented, that Montoya feels like a fitting choice. Now, does the Montoya of the actual mainstream Batman line feel like she would have been a choice for here? That's maybe not. But we have already seen that the characters in this book aren't the exact characters that we have known from the mainstream story. For a prime example is Duke Thomas. Duke Thomas in this Murphyverse is a boss. And in the main book, he's kind of a whining little bitch that I just want to smack, and I'm just like, I can't stand seeing him wear the bat symbol, and I just like, what? Who is this guy? I feel like he was just a token. Like, we need a Black Robin, and they just kind of just crapped him out, and I know how that sounds. I didn't mean it in any sort of. It was a very tokenized character without real purpose, and that bothers me. But Duke Thomas in this story, Sean Murphy is like, oh no, I'm going to make this character mean something. And he does. And I love him. But they're different. And so I kind of assume that to be the case with all the characters. They maintain the spirit. Alfred is pretty spot on. Gordon obviously is really spot on. I feel like Dick and Babs are spot on, but from like decades ago. They aren't the Dick and Babs of today. They're the Dick and Babs that should have been, in my opinion. I'm blabbing. I'm in the weeds. I love this book so much. Going through and talking with you guys about the book again and reading over some of the scenes was choking me up again. After I already know everything that happens, like it was still resonant and meaningful to me. I urge you not to let me spoil this book. This is a 5-star book in every way. This is, if you're only getting like 1 or 2 books on your pull list, this is one of the ones that needs to be there. You know, I understand that maybe you like other things like X-Men or Spider-Man or what have you. And that's fine. I do too. But nothing in mainstream comics right now, with the exception of maybe Scott Snyder's Last Night on Earth, which has been like crazy delayed for issue 3, nothing else is as good as this. This is a once in a generation type thing. It's seriously that good, and it's that good a second time. This reminds me, I want to say, I've said this before, I haven't felt this way about a book where I'm so utterly amazed at the power of a creator's writing in combination with their art together since Frank Miller hit the scene back in the early 80s. When he was doing his Daredevil, and then later came over and did the Batman, and it was super exciting. You were just like, what is this guy? Where did he come from? This is what Sean Murphy feels like to me. That's it, yeah. I know that's kind of old-timey stuff, and you're like, I've just heard of Frank Miller for that. That's my dad's, that's the guy my dad liked, or whatever, okay, I get it. But, all right, that's enough. Too much. Don't know how to end my show. I just want to babble on all day. I wish I had someone to, I wish we could talk two-way back and forth. And there is a way. Got a Discord channel. You're welcome to join. But write in the comments. Love to hear everything you have to say. Might feature it on the Ash Wednesday show if you got some good questions or good statements. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.